Now, your forecast first, sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Well, good evening to you on this election night. We're going to get to all those results coming up, but a quick check of the weather on this very calm evening. It has been one of the nicer election days with the weather that we have had in a while. Let's take a look at the current temperatures tonight. Even still, this 9 o'clock hour sitting at 58 in Springfield and in Effingham, 53 in Champaign. Look at where the temperatures go tomorrow. Yeah, we're talking about maybe getting up to near 70 degrees in some areas on what is going to be another very warm day. So how long will the nice weather stick around? We'll talk about that in the full forecast when we come back. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
Now on WCIA 3 News. 9 on X49, your local election headquarters.
Good evening, I'm Paul Cicchini.
I'm Jessica Kuhn.
And I'm Jennifer Roscoe. Thank you for joining us. It is Election Night 2020.
It's one of the biggest election nights in recent memory.
And one that's been filled with incredible emotion and passion. Now, the first race we're looking at tonight is the one for the White House.
That's right. Donald Trump running for re-election, of course, against challenger Joe Biden. And right now we have 36% of votes counted. They said this was going to be a tight race, and it is so far. President Trump right now leading with 50% to the former vice president's 48% of the vote. Now we're going to take a look at the electoral votes across the nation. These are the numbers that matter. It is 270 to win, and these are projections from AP. Right now, Biden with 118 electoral votes and President Trump with 94. Statewide, one of the most heated races we've had for a while, the race for the 13th congressional district. And that runs from Champaign County in the east all the way down to the St. Louis area to the west. Republican Congressman Rodney Davis, once again, second time now, taking on challenger Betsy Landrigan. And we're going to take a look at those numbers. Now, these are Illinois numbers, 35% of the precincts in. And right now, Davis running for his fifth term is ahead 55% to the Springfield native, 45% of the vote. Let's take a look at the balance of power in the House. Right now, there are 232 seats for the Democrats and 197 for the Republicans. The GOP, of course, trying to pick up more there in the House.
There are several seats up for grabs. In fact, every seat in the House is up for grabs. We're keeping an eye on the 15th congressional district right now. It includes portions of Champaign and Ford counties, goes all the way to the southernmost tip of the state.
And in that race, Republican Mary Miller facing Democrat Erica Weaver. Let's take a look at the numbers tonight. 33% of precincts reporting, and the Republican Mary Miller has a lead with 72% of the vote so far. Moving on to the 16th congressional district, that includes a portion of Iroquois and Ford counties. Republican Adam Kinzinger, the incumbent, looking to stay another term. Democrat Danny Brzezowski challenging that. Only 21% of precincts reporting in this one. The incumbent does have the lead, but we still have a ways to go.
Let's move to the 18th congressional district. That includes Sangamon and Menard counties and goes west to the Mississippi. That features Republican incumbent Darren LaHood and Democrat George Petrilli, with nearly half of precincts reporting the Republican is cruising to re-election. In the Senate, Dick Durbin, the minority whip since 2015, is running for re-election, and the Associated Press has called this race, and Dick Durbin will be returning to the Senate. But let's take a quick look at the balance of power heading into tonight in the Senate. 23 seats held by Republicans are up for grabs, a dozen for the Democrats. Senator Durbin's biggest challenger in this race was Mark Curran, but again, Senator Durbin is headed back to the Senate, was re-elected tonight.
Voters were also asked whether to change the state's income tax system. It's a yes or no question to remove the flat income tax and allow the state to tax people with higher incomes at a higher rate and people who make less at a lower rate. So taking a look at the votes, we still have a long way to go, still a lot of numbers to come in. Only 29% of precincts reporting, but the majority of people so far tonight voting this down 53% to 47% at this point.
All right, so what do the results mean for people in Illinois joining us here tonight? Two people who know state politics very well, State Senators Andy Manar and Chapin Rose. Thank you for being here. All right, so you just saw the numbers on the income tax. What are your thoughts at this point? Surprised at all?
I think it depends on where those results come from, and I don't have a clear picture of that today. So
to me, it's clear this is going to be a tough sell to people in the state, but it's about fairness. I supported it, and many of my colleagues did as well. We have significant budget challenges, and that's why it's so important. But this is one of those tallies that's going to go down to the last vote, in my opinion. And as I said earlier, it's going to depend on where those votes come, and when you put them all together, I think we'll be up pretty late into the night to watch the end result on this.
And Senator Rose, millions and millions of dollars were poured into this race to get people to vote a certain way.
Yeah, you know, and I think Illinoisans are pretty smart, and they didn't need the push. They knew where it was at. They knew what they were going to do. I know my area is going to be pretty decidedly against that tax question for sure. But again, I agree with Andy. It's going to be a long night, and you look at these numbers, and we got so many percent of this and so many percent of that. But Champaign County, for example, still hasn't reported at all, and sort of characteristic that they've had a bit of an issue with their election results overall. In the primary as well. So we need to figure out where these are at. At the beginning of the night, we saw that Ronnie Davis was down. Now Ronnie Davis is up. Again, as Andy points out, it's where are the votes coming in from? And I think we need to do some more analysis of that.
We need some numbers from Champaign County.
We need some
Come
numbers
on,
from
we got to
Champaign
see them.
County.
All right, we'll be back with you guys in just a bit.
All right, from a lawsuit to the wrong zip code on mail-in ballots, it's been one problem after another for the Champaign County clerk, as was just being discussed.
But are there any issues tonight when it comes to counting those ballots? We're still waiting for those results. We'll have more after the break.
And a look at our weather today as we recap where temperatures made it to 70 degrees. How about that after a chilly start of 32? When we come back, we're going to break down this warm weather. How long can it last? Talking about the wind and if there are any rain chances at all in the 7-day next.
Now, Central Illinois' most accurate forecast with meteorologist Kevin Lighty.
All right, to welcome in here, I get the easy job. They're all working on the election results. I get to say how beautiful it is out there and how it's going to be great through the rest of this week. That is the satellite radar picture tonight. Nothing showing up there at all. Temperatures cooling down a little bit, but not as much as where we have been. 53 still in Champaign right now, 56 in Mattoon, 58 in Effingham, 51 over into Edgar County near Paris. And these temperatures are going to cool off, only back down to the mid-40s. Look at this here, by early tomorrow morning. Not looking bad at all. Generally clear skies. and we've got a ton of sunshine again for your Wednesday. We're talking 70 from places like Monticello to Clinton to Bloomington over to Decatur and Shelbyville, all looking very nice across the area with no major weather issues at all. It is going to get a little windy though. Look at those winds here gusting 25 to 30 miles per hour, and you can see how temperatures are going to stay warm through the rest of the week, but then bottom out for us here as we head towards next week. But these temperatures are looking really good. All right, for tonight down to 43, clear and mild. Tomorrow a high of 68. And look at this 7-day forecast that's going to show really mild temperatures all week long. Again, we will see our next chance of rain showing up by maybe next Monday and Tuesday of next week. Otherwise, that's some nice weather.
Not bad at all.
Yep.
Beautiful election day. All right, we'll be right back with more election results.
Live from your local news leader, Jennifer Roscoe, Paul Cicchini, Jessica Coons, and Kevin Lighty. This is a special edition of WCIA3 News at 9 on X49, your local election headquarters.
Okay, welcome back to Election Night 2020. The Champaign County Clerk had more than his share of issues going into this election.
That's right. Aaron Ammon's office was sued. It printed an incorrect zip code on mail-in ballots and sent some voters the wrong address for a polling place.
So how's it going tonight as the ballots are being counted? We are still waiting for results from Champaign County. WCIA3's Courtney Bunting is live at the Brookins Administrative Center in Urbana. So Courtney, what's going on there? We're still waiting for those numbers, as I said.
That's right, Jessica, still waiting for those. And from what we understand, someone from the clerk's office told us that there's a backlog happening right now. And the reason that's taking place is because they are still totaling late voter numbers and early voting numbers as well. And so that's why we're not getting any results at this point. I did talk to Ammons earlier. He said they're still expecting record-breaking numbers when it comes to those voting totals. About 90,000 people they had so far at 5:30, so they're expecting to be well over 92,000, which was their record, I believe, in the past. So they said they're still expecting to be record-breaking. But again, those late voters, in addition to the early voting totals that they're still coming in, is what's causing that backlog. So we're still waiting here to get those results to bring them to you. Back to you in the studio, but we'll be here for the remainder of the night. As soon as we get those totals, we'll be sure to bring them to you. Back to you guys.
Courtney, we're going to check back in with you as the night goes on to see what else is going on there. Several referendums were on the ballot tonight, but did any of them pass? We'll take a look at the latest numbers next.
You're watching your local election headquarters on X49.
All right, let's take a look at a race in the state Senate, 52nd district right now, where Democratic incumbent Scott Bennett is taking on Alexander Ruggieri, the Republican here. Just 1% so far of results in, so a long way to go in this race, but Scott Bennett appears to be cruising toward re-election. Let's take a look now at the 55th state Senate district. Darren Bailey here, you are probably familiar with his name. He has been front and center during this pandemic because as a state representative, he has sued Governor Pritzker over his executive powers. He is now looking to move across the rotunda to be in the state Senate. 37% of results in so far, and he has a big lead over his Democratic challenger right now.
There were several referendum questions across central Illinois, several in Champaign County. We'll see if we have some numbers on these. Forest Preserve wanting voters to approve a tax increase there. Of course, no numbers as we wait for the Champaign County Clerk's Office to count votes there. Also in Champaign County, should the trustees of the Broadlands Longview Fire Protection District be elected rather than appointed? This one we do have some numbers on. Half of precincts reporting the majority of people so far saying yes, those trustees should be elected instead of appointed.
And we are not the only ones watching the results as they come in. What our two state senators we have here in the studio have to say as those ballots are being counted. Don't go away.
You're watching your local election headquarters on X49.
All right, we're going to wrap up our half hour here. We haven't been able to talk to you two about the presidential race. Quickly, what are you seeing? Any surprises? What do you think?
I think Ohio right now is a surprise. It's much closer than most national polls have shown it and what most pundits have shown it. So my eyes are on both Ohio and North Carolina right now.
North Carolina.
So, I came in tonight looking at Pennsylvania as being the big bellwether. The Ohio thing is really interesting. If you remember 4 years ago, Hillary Clinton didn't go to Wisconsin, ended up, costing her the presidency. It'd be interesting to see how Ohio turns out because, President Trump has spent quite a bit of time in other states. And, it'll be interesting to see where Ohio lands. So we're just trying to get some better numbers there, but it's definitely in play.
And I'm sensing a slight smile on your face right now that I don't know if that was here walking in.
Because I didn't have the mask on? Is that what it is?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, we are all safe here in the studio. All right, thank you both so much. We will see you on channel WCIA at 10 o'clock. And thank you for being here with us on our election coverage. We will see you very soon.
This is an election night update from WCIA 3 News, your local election headquarters.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jennifer Roscoe.
I'm Jessica Coons.
I'm Paul Cicchini. Thanks for joining us this Election Night 2020 update. Voters here in Illinois were asked whether to change the state's income tax system.
So let's take a look at the results so far. This would remove the flat income tax and allow the state to tax people with higher incomes at a higher rate. And right now, 46% of precincts reporting the majority voting no to this, 51% to 49%, but still have half of precincts left to report in that race.
All right, now to one of the most heated races we've had in a while, the race for the 13th Congressional District. Republican Rodney Davis trying to hold on to his seat against challenger Betsy Dirksen-Londrigan. We've got now 45% of precincts reporting the most totals we've had so far. The Republicans still leading in this race, and that margin is widening, 57% to Londrigan's 43%.
This time, taking a look at another congressional district, the 15th. This includes portions of Champaign and Ford counties, goes all the way to the southern tip of the state. Republican Mary Miller and Democrat Erica Weaver both want the seat, and 37% of precincts in Mary Miller, the Republican, has the lead to Erica Weaver's 27% of the vote. In the 16th, which includes a portion of Iroquois and Ford counties, Republican Adam Kinzinger, the incumbent, facing Democrat Danny Brzezowski, and we have 39% of precincts reporting in this race. If we can pull up those totals, right now the incumbent has the lead with 66% of the vote.
Let's head to the 18th district now of the House. That includes Sangamon and Menard counties and goes west to the Mississippi. That features Republican incumbent Darren LaHood and Democrat George Petrilli. 63% of precincts reporting, and the Republican incumbent Darren LaHood with a wide margin right now. In the state Senate, Representative Darren Bailey was elected to the 109th district in 2018. He's now looking to cross the rotunda and move to the 55th district in the state Senate. He's a Republican. You recognize his name. He's sued the governor. Tonight, his challenger is Cynthia Given. With 40% of precincts reporting, Darren Bailey looks poised to head to the Senate.
In Sangamon County, they have a state's attorney's race there. Republican incumbent Dan Wright trying to beat political newcomer Michael Drake. And right now we are taking a look. We've got 54% of the precincts in and the Republican leading here 58% to 42%. In Macon County, state's attorney Jay Scott retiring. This is a battle between lawyers. Scott Reeder, the Republican, way ahead so far, 75% of the vote.
We will see you again at 10.
Check WCIA.com for full election results.